ladies and gentlemen of the audience. My name's been scattered around a lot lately over the papers, and been a lot of stuff that's been said. And I felt compelled that I'd like to stand before each and every one of you tonight and just express a few of this board members, not any collective of anybody combined. I speak for myself. And I want to say first and foremost that Donnie Poston is a friend of mine too. And if anybody has said that Donnie Poston's not a friend of mine, you don't know Donnie Poston and Rector Miller. He's a good man, just like every one of you has said. I've continued to say that. He's a fine man. He's a good Christian man. He's got integrity unsurpassed. He's a fine person. I agree with everything everybody said. But sometimes personalities get into a situation where if you truly take your job as a board member seriously, there may be times that you may have to question things that may not be all out in the public's eyes, but that you're concerned with because you're concerned with the direction of the educational system that you've been elected to stand up and speak for. So I wanted to get that out of that way. And then I have a statement to make about an allegation, and that is that I have never, ever threatened anybody with my vote, nor have I ever coerced any board member with my vote. Period. If anybody has ever said that, I'm sorry, but they're less than truthful. And that's my stand on that particular incident, where I stand. Now, I've been concerned about some things since last September. I've been very vocal to Ms. Tammy Lay. Me and Mr. Poston's had several meetings about a teacher-pupil ratio. No, it's not about grades. Mr. Poston can't be held responsible for grades that now is being accurately reported. That in last administrations, I'm not so sure that's the case. He can't be held responsible for ACT scores when social economic kids, disadvantaged kids now, have to take the ACT and the ACTs have come down. That's fact. He can't be held responsible for that. But what he can be held responsible for is the vision and the leadership of this educational system, whether he gets 1 more year or 5 more years. And I have been confused about that. Last fall, I was told that we were going to be out of compliance of 7 teachers because our teacher-to-pupil ratio in the elementary schools was way out of whack. And in December, Mr. Poston told me, he said, we're going to get 7 more teachers. Well, believe it or not, I was excited about that. Because whether we have to pay for it or where the money's going to come from, I knew that that was going to translate to the classroom of smaller classroom sizes, which means your grade's going to go up. Because if you know anything about education, and the one little thing I've learned for 2 years I've been on here, you want grades to go up, lower the classroom sizes. But you know what happens if you do that? You got to pay for it. You got to pay for it. You got to have money. Last year we cut 21 teachers, and we cut reading recovery. We've got kids in the 4th and 5th grade that can't read because they're falling through the cracks. And guess what reading recovery did? It caught those kids. It kept them from getting to the 4th and 5th grade. But we're not doing that this year. Why? Because we had to cut the budget so that we wouldn't, quote, raise taxes. I'm a property owner. I don't like to pay taxes. But where are we at? We're at a fork in the road, I do believe. With Mr. Poston's leadership, and Friday, I had a very good meeting with him. And again, this is one board member. I spoke with him and I showed him my concerns. I showed him and discussed to him about the emails we got from Mr. Marlowe last September, where Mr. Marlowe told us that we had to identify 12 more certified teachers to be cut. $835,000. Now, he wanted Mr. Poston to get these by the first week of January, and or a combination of other certified personnel. Now, in my opinion, the 7 that we thought we were going to get in December, but the Director of Finance worked with the state of Tennessee and worked up a formula And they accepted it because it was bare minimum and allowed us not to have to put 7 more teachers back in the classroom, but 1. And it balanced the books. And that was good for them. But did it better our education? Did it really help us? Ask the teachers that's got 24 kids in their kindergarten class, and 25 and 21. Ask them if it helped them. It didn't help them. So now we're faced with that $835,000. What are we going to do? Where are we going to get the money? Well, at the time we had the vote last month, I didn't know where we was going to do. I didn't know if Mr. Poston was going to cut those 12 teachers or not. I didn't know if he was going to take all of our capital outlay out. And granted, this will be worked out in the months ahead. The chairman and Mr. Poston will be working with Mr. Marlowe to work that out. But what I hope we do, and my encouragement to Mr. Poston, if he gets his extension, is let's fight for the education of these kids to compete with other counties that are doing what they need to do because they're paying for it. They're paying for it, folks. And if we have to get out here on every church corner and every corner and tell the people of this good county that I love that we need to pay for an education system that you want, and let this man lead us in that direction. And I'll guarantee you that the county court then won't look back at us and say, oh, you've got to cut more because we're not going to raise taxes because we got to run next year. Well, I got to run too, and I'll tell you this, I don't care if I get elected again, if I do decide to run, but I do know this. We have made strides and bounds, this Board of Education has, in construction progress. We have made strides and bounds under Mr. Poston's leadership